Welcome to this live, everybody. I hope y'all good out there. Now today I have a clip for y'all to check out. It's from a little while back, but it deserves to be a highlighted moment. And in it, you're gonna see Jeannie Mai in her relationship being dangled in front of us as if it is the ideal. The ideal that the average woman, whatever that is, could never reach. The average at best woman could never reach. So above what the typical woman could ever experience, the happiness she could ever experience. And this was the messaging of Kevin Samuels and copycat channels like Fit and Fresh. This is the messaging, the toxic messaging that they were given to women. So some women and men bought into this kind of shady thinking. And Jeannie Mai herself, okay, her and Jeezy are going through this divorce, and that cannot be easy for either one of them. But she did kind of buy into this thinking herself, kind of tooting her own horn. But you be the judge of it. I'm going to put that up for you now. With the dearly departed Kevin Samuels. Let me just get that going for you.
Listen, I need therapy. Oh man, okay, let me go ahead and help you. Bye. Bye. Say goodbye to the white knights and the crybabies. You can go on over back and get you a kitty meal back in the kitty section. Go on back to your mammy's house, because this is for adults only. We don't deal with little boys and they fifis. So, here we go. You guys see the title of the show. Let's get on into it. I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, you know what's going on right now. On the TV show The Real, Jeannie Mai, a Asian woman who's engaged to rapper Young Jeezy, has stirred up a hornet's nest of controversy by just simply saying something that, well, what am I talking about? I tell you what, let her say it herself. But here's how we're going to do this, guys. Before we get into it, I'm going to need you guys to keep the engagement up over 50%. Likes, dislikes, it don't matter. Just get them up, because if you don't, we're going to end up having the intermission song, and the intermission song sounds like this. And if you don't want me to come through playing that song loud, I'm going to need you to get them up. You would not think it would be such a controversial thing for a woman to say, I want to, submit or something like that to my husband. But apparently, today, it's a problem. Let me see something before we get into it.
Again, even though it's a competition, don't miss out on the best. Moving on.
All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get on into it.
Go ahead.
Fair use to you. High value, competitive, successful men marry. They marry. Oh yes, they marry. They marry. But who are they marrying? Competitive, successful, high value black men marry women like Jeannie Mai. They don't marry women like Loni Love. Why is that, Kevin? Well, I think it's going to be best described by Jeannie herself. Let's get into this thing. Let's get into it, because this is what started all the controversy. So let's go ahead and kick it off. You guys, be nice, be polite, keep the trolling down, because this is going to get heated.
So I want to talk about this, you guys. USA Today recently reported that President Trump's nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, has close ties to a Christian religious group called People of Praise, who reportedly teach that it's a wife's job to submit to the will of her husband, as the Bible teaches. So far, Barrett has declined to publicly.
Now, before she even said anything, all this engaged woman said was that President Trump's nominee thinks that it's a wife's job to submit to her husband. Like 80+% of black women who claim to be Christians purport to be Christians. And she didn't even get out her mouth good before it started. Shout out to Ike.
Discuss her affiliation with People of Praise. I did not even know this existed. But this week, Matthew Cochran of the Federalist defended this viewpoint, arguing that
look at Loni Love's face. Unmarried, never married, Loni Love. Unmarried, never married, Loni Love. Remember what I said? All the brothers are asking for is fit. Loni Love ain't been fit for a long time. Cooperative, knock it out. She does have the single part though. And then right down over here, we have none other than another washed up B-list actress who thinks she's got her opinion matters for something. You know, before you saw her on the Steve Harvey show, she was throwing rose petals at Prince Akeem, or what was Eddie Murphy's character? She was one of them Zamunda rose throwing women. That's who she was. That's her. Zamunda rose thrower. Look at her with this thing stuck on top of her head. You know that ain't her hair. It's stuck on top of her head. Now let's see. Unfit, weave. Fit, weave. You can't get rid of the weave. I'm sorry. But as we keep on going, here's what it got down to.
Wait, they're all wearing hair pieces. So he's going to get more and more abusive as it goes on. But all the ladies you can see are wearing something, but he does not let up off of the sisters. And he is such a big contributor to this climate that we have now where, I mean, I could take it personally because I am a black woman, but it's crazy how it's like, that's like a social media, like business model. Ooh, drag sisters. It's like open season on sisters. Use us for fodder. Use us for the object of abuse. And he is passed on now. This was his brand of entertainment, but let's go on.
Equality in marriage only breeds resentment, and that just because a woman is submissive to her man doesn't mean it will hold her back in life, highlighting Amy's potential new job as evidence of that. So ladies, this view... I'm sorry, I'm already thinking about my...
See, she can't even get it out because she know these women are going to lose their mind. She know they're going to lose their mind. Why is the subject of submission? See, before you can get submission, you can need cooperation. Why do unmarried women like Loni Love and Garcelle Bouvet think that they have something to tell you women? Not unmarried. I need you to take a look at their ring finger, and it's as dry as French toast.
Do you view this as ridiculous?
What we had?
Right. Do you guys feel as women?
This is crazy.
This tension coming up when you hear this.
Submission.
Garcelle, what? It's that
When
word.
I think of
So tell me
submission,
what you
I think maybe back in the 50s and the 40s. But I think, what is submissive in the 2020? What is submissive? I think we have to define that. And I think for me, it would never work, right? But I think.
Stop right there. Always wanting to redefine something. And for me in 2020, it would never work. That's right. That's why you're going to die alone.
I'm going to stop right there since he stopped right there. We know that Kevin Samuels did die alone. He was not married. And he branded himself as a relationship kind of superhero of men in the manosphere, but he was mostly in conversations with women, telling them, giving them this rating of what makes them valuable and basing it on their weight, their age, and if they have kids, a mathematical system. I guess you could use that. But Kevin Samuels, his own mother got married in her 50s. But this man carries a lot of anger and hatred in him. I'll get to that later. I'm just going and play it.
This is why you are going to die alone. And good for you. You're going to die alone. So go ahead and you know what you need to do. Buy that dog. You're going to die alone. And these women are proud to be dying alone. So I have no sympathy. People are like, why are you so rude? Why do you say some of these things? Because these women don't care. They know exactly what's coming towards them. And they are, not only do they know it, they're proud. So hey, let them have it. Again, Fanny, you ain't been nobody since the 90s. Where'd they even dig you up at? Talking about it would not work. Who wants to marry you in the first place?
It really is up to the couple. I think you have to decide, what is submissive? Is it cooking everything he wants? Is it having his, bath ready when he comes home? Like, what is it? I think that has to be really redefined, but I'm not down for that. You won't get me to be submissive. There are things that I'll give and take in a relationship, but to be completely submissive.
That's compromise.
Like even the word obey when you're getting married in a marriage vow, you say obey, but.
Notice that everything she said, notice that the things they say when it comes to submissive are automatically negative and conflated. What does it mean to actually have to prepare a meal for your man every day? Well, you got to eat 2 or 3 times a day. Understand.
Check it out. We live in a modern society where most households, when you're married and you have kids, there's not too many households where the man and the woman both aren't working. The female, at least part-time, if not full-time. This has been since the 70s. It all changed when women went into the workplace. And a lot of women bring in more income than their husbands. It happens quite often. So how can a woman working 8 hours, 10 hours, or a double shift be expected to prepare meals every night, get the kids washed and all that, all by herself? These ideals, they don't fit this modern world. And if men, with all the little details that women look after, if men were really about leading and keeping the ship right, I think women would just always follow them. But a lot of times in relationships, women are doing the critical thinking. He's taken a long time to get to why he praises Jeannie Mai so much. And she is a lovely woman and all that. But to praise her and slam these women, and you notice he doesn't really come at Adrian. But let's go on.
These are the same women who would talk about they wanted children, but you got no problem. Who gonna cook for the kids? See, when I first started getting hip to this, woman is my age, and when I first started getting hip to this was in the late 80s on a college campus, and we used to have these relationship seminars, and we heard these women like her standing up all the time talking about how they ain't gonna submit to no man and do this and don't do that, and they want this modern 50-50 relationship. And I remember standing up in 1989 and saying, got a question. Okay, in this modern 50-50 power couple relationship, do you ladies want children? And across the board, yes, 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 yes. I asked one question, like I always do, and shut the whole piece down. Well, if you ain't gonna cook for them, who is? Cricket, ass quiet. Because all they had ever associated cooking with is subordinate to a man. Like you got to cook on over a camp, like you got to go chop wood and make a campfire and cook for a man on a pot that you made out of metal you've smelted yourself. Then you got to crawl across broken glass and give it to your Lord and Savior in a submissive position. This is the result of baby boomers and single mothers. My mother's generation birthed this. And this is what so many men my age have rejected. Think about, this is what it is at 50. Can you imagine what she was like at 20? If Vivica Fox and all them other cocktails and queens and Loni Loves are still like this at 50, you can only imagine what some of the brothers were saying back then. And here is the problem. These women have no idea what working with a man looks like.
Are people?
Okay, let me just stop for a second. You see, he don't mind coming after these women. He's coming hard, and it just escalates while he's reacting to their talk. They're zooming because it's the pandemic. And the reason why I want to put this up, of course, Jeannie Mai and Jeezy are going through their divorce. I wish them all the best. I hope they find a civil way out of this. But how he held them up as the ideal and as a way to come at women. You see, he's coming at the cocktails with the queens. He says he's talking about the high value black man, but he spreads this out across the board. He uses other nationalities and other countries to base his ideology on. And it's really abusive. And now you see that Jeannie Mai is going through her thing. But so many people have bought into this thinking from him, and all the copycats that have followed him is really, really destructive. This bothered me the first time I saw it years ago, and I would never have wished nothing bad on Jeannie Mai, but sometimes just to hold people up, I mean, why would you even want to put out that kind of messaging that someone should feel small and look at somebody else like they deserve more than you? That is not no healthy message to put out in the world. But that was his messaging. And of course, it's entertainment. Reckless, toxic entertainment packaged as if it's wellness for men or some kind of male therapy. But really, Kevin Samuels, like so many of these dudes, he's an angry man. He's angry with his mother. He's angry because he's battled an illness since he was 21 years old. And he's always had to deal with his mortality at an age where people didn't have to deal with that kind of thinking, like, how long am I gonna live? So, and it's kept him from doing a lot of things. So this man is like a really angry man lashing out at women. And it's unfortunate that he used Jeannie Mai as an example of all that you could never be. But Jeannie Mai says some things, it's gonna come up. And I don't think it was all that cool what she said, but hey, she's an entertainer too.
Really doing that these days? It's like, I respect you and I will honor you, but I think the obeying submissiveness is out for me.
I think it's so weird when people try to use the Bible for these sorts of things. I think that gets really weird. Obviously, you know, the Bible was written in a different time, a completely different. Literally, there's parts in the Bible that literally say that you should stone somebody if they eat shrimp in Leviticus. Like,
Conversation over. Anytime you hear a fool say something like that, say check, please. You're dealing with somebody who is in malafide, bad faith argument. She is not operating in good faith. You want to go to talk about shrimp and stoning people. I don't even want to talk to you anymore because you're
Talking
not
about
trying
scriptures.
to be reasonable. Think about it. Now, this woman is supposed to be married, but that's the best you could do? The best you could do. Now, understand, all that men are asking today is for cooperation. And the men you say you want, you know, this is why these women end up as single mothers or with beta males. Because driven, competitive, successful, productive men, we're not going to negotiate this with you. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. Because I only deal with a certain caliber of woman. Guys like myself only deal with a certain caliber of woman. And dudes like myself got plenty of women trying to get around us. And those women have their fair share of men trying to get around them. It is a choice for these two to be together. Now, what you have are some uncompetitive women trying to make the best choice out of poor choices, because off the rip, who would want to get with Garcelle Beauvais or Loni Love? I mean, given the alternative of the two, Garcelle is more visually appealing, but her attitude is just as stank.
We have to
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. He's just coming at these women. Yeah, Loni Love is large and in charge, but last I remember, she is married. And you know, my mother told me something when I was young, that you can always get somebody to lay up with. It don't matter what your station is in life, because everything on this planet has sex and recreates. Every bug, bird, worm, dog, cat, human being, it don't matter if you're homeless or not. You can always find somebody to lay up with. And just because you have money or status, that doesn't necessarily mean the people that you're hooking up with are about you. Like a lot of these rich old men hooking up with girls just barely out of their teens, that's not always a healthy union. So this man, with his brand of entertainment, under the guise of wellness and getting people to think critically, and I guess he want to be like a life coach. He's departed. He wanted to be like a life coach. Let's let him go on, because his whole point is to praise Jeannie Mai. So
or not color your hair.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally really extreme things that are said. I think God also gives us wisdom, and I think that there are also other parts of the Bible that recognize how important and how essential a woman is to the world and to a marriage, and it speaks on equality. Like for me, I just feel like the concept of being me submissive to my husband, but what is he not submissive to me as well? I think for me, I think that's what give and take in a relationship is about. It's about compromise and.
Feel sorry for you, bruh. Feel sorry for you, bruh. Your woman just got on camera and said, hey, the Bible says we're equals. And you submit to me and I submit to my... all out of context. Can you imagine what it would be like if that dude going into the barbershop after this bit aired? You basically just took your husband's gonads and put them in your purse. Because anytime he goes around anybody else, I'm gonna be like, damn, son, that's what you married to? And don't let her be the breadwinner, which my gut says she probably is. I don't know. But, all bad. This is why I say, do what you want, guys. Do that 50-50 stuff if you want to. Formula for this.
Stop smiling when you see that picture, Jeannie.
No, it's so
was
cute.
Like,
Why?
but I feel
I
like
love it.
Like this just takes us backwards, you guys. As women, we fought so hard to be equal and viewed equal in our relationships, in our workplaces, and the concept of being submissive has a negative connotation to it. I think when they're talking about her being a boss and obviously having this incredible position that she may be taking, guys, there are people who are bosses in their workplace and then they want to come home and let their husband lead. That again is their choice. That is not them being submissive.
Right.
That is them
That's what
choosing
I'm talking about. It's about the
that that's what they
couple's
want.
decision.
It's a difference.
Right.
That's right.
No, you know what the thing is that what works for a couple works for a couple. I can't.
Shut the fuck up, Loni Love.
YouTube, forgive me. We see that he hates Loni Love, right? Okay. I don't have time to bleep all this stuff out. I don't use this kind of language online, but let's go.
I've been wanting to say that for a minute. Shut up. I and men like myself absolutely don't care what your swole up ass has to say about anything. You, in my opinion, you and women that have your attitude are enemies to women, black women in particular. You are my enemy when it comes to dealing with black women. And I'm going to expound on that more later. I don't care who you're dating right now. You're supposed to be happy. Yet you still find a way to get your big swole ass up here and still have an attitude problem about something. Seek help and shut up.
That's
What did
it.
she
I
even
can't
say?
judge them
Let
because
me
that
go
works
back.
for them.
Because anytime he goes around anybody else, I'm like, damn.
I think
son.
she said like 2 words and he hates her.
When I'm in the world, treat me as an equal. Cool. No protection. No door open. No nothing.
Wait a
You
minute.
are a Jeannie my age.
I try to go back.
People will bring it over in.
Guys, there are people who are bosses in their workplace and then they want to come home and
I
let
just
their
wanna hear
husband
that again.
lead. That again is their choice. That is not them being submissive.
Right.
That is them
That's what I'm
choosing
talking about. It's about the
that's what they
couple's
want.
decision.
It's a difference.
Right.
That's right.
No, you know what the thing is that what works for a couple works for a couple. I can't.
Shut the fuck up, Loni Love. I've been wanting to say that for a minute. Shut up. I and men like myself absolutely don't care what your swole up ass has to say about anything. You are in my opinion, you and women that have your attitude are enemies to women, black women in particular. You are my enemy when it comes to dealing with black women.
So you see, all she said, what works for a couple, all she said was what works for a couple works for a couple. And he just laid into her. So Kevin Samuels, his brand of entertainment that he disguises as relationship therapy or life coaching, it seems like it's for hot-headed people that's on the young side or angry people. Any way you look at it, it's toxic. There is no reason for a man this age to be talking like this. It's just toxic. It's just volatile. It's abusive. It's just really too much. I could not get into this dude. I've seen him in other interviews, and he'll act like he has some sense. It depends on what setting he's in. But let's let this roll because I really want him to get to his praises of Jeannie Mai.
And I'm going to expound on that more later. I don't care who you're dating right now. You're supposed to be happy. But yet you still find a way to get your big swole ass up here and still have an attitude problem about something. Seek help and shut up.
Abuse.
That's it.
I can't judge them because that works for them. The problem that
That's
I
right.
have with this whole submission talk is that people will bring it over into real life. There's no way that women,
Politics.
I feel women in this country can't have real equality.
This woman is about to make the point of you can have that submission stuff at home, but when I'm in the world, treat me as an equal. Cool. No protection. No door open. No nothing. You are a genderless being. That means you got to get it out of the mud just like I do. Got no problem with that. That means at work and anywhere I don't see gender. Guarantee you'll break and women like you will break long before men like us will. Fine. 100% fine with that. Don't cry. Don't say shit. Don't ask for nothing. Don't ask for any girl push-ups in the world. You need to get it out of the mud and come stand up, square up, and compete with men. Just because you weigh like a heavyweight don't mean you can play like a heavyweight.
if you have this same old-fashioned, outdated type of thinking.
Right.
Now, in a marriage,
Right.
that's fine, but if he thinks like that
Not-
for a woman and she thinks like that for herself, then when they go outside, they're trying to spread it. And that's what you see right now. So now you're getting articles about, oh, they should be, women should be submissive. So now you have women that necessarily aren't in relationships questioning, well, should I be?
She said, you got women out here submitting at home in a happy cooperative relationship with their man, and they out here trying to spread that in the world like it's a disease. Did you hear what she said? They're out here trying to spread it. Like, if you want to be submissive in your house, but in the real world we compete, fine. I can't wait to hear about the time you get booped, something happens. Oh, I don't want to wish nothing bad, but ladies, I don't think you want the world Loni's talking about, because that means you're going to need to be 51% of the military, 51% of the construction workers, 51% of the police force, the firefighters, ditch diggers, trash men, all the crappy jobs. We're going to need y'all to be 51% of all of it. And we're going to need it to be done at the minimum level of the worst man. We're going to need you to be 51% of all that. 51% of the homeless population, all that. I need you to be my equal.
1 second. First of all, what Loni said was people that are in dating relationships are questioning themselves. Should I be submissive? What should I be doing? Am I not playing this role correctly? And then he takes that to say, oh, if you want to be equals, he's so ridiculous. That's why he has to stay in a space where he's not dealing with a woman. Women already do crappy jobs. Women always have done crappy jobs. Women bear children and their body has to heal or never heal afterwards. Women are the caregivers. Women change babies' diapers for years. Women breastfeed. Women are typically house cleaners, maids, cooking all day, standing on your feet, even though a lot of men do that too. Women aren't any strangers to hard labor. Women are not typical warriors because they don't have the same kind of upper body strength that men have. Women have a menstrual cycle every month. This man just spews insanity. But all of this is that he's leading up to being a cheerleader for Jeannie Mai. And it's fine. Like I said, she's a beautiful woman, but don't use her and her stance on being submissive as a reason to slap these other women across the face and women in general across the face with these insults. It's just insane. But even though this happened 2 years ago when Jeannie Mai was getting ready to get married, this toxicity is all out here. You see it all online. It comes up all the time. Kevin Samuels has a lot of minions, but let's go on.
Loni Love, guarantee if you had to get out here and pay like your weight, that weight would drop off of you because you couldn't make it out here. So you sitting up here in there, air conditioning that man have made, building that a man has made, all this stuff that men have made, and then gonna act like butter won't melt in your mouth. Shut the French toast up. Tired of hearing you.
That way. Should I do that?
Right.
And that's not true equality for women. So that's the reason why I have a problem with it. What you do in your relationship, that's on you. But don't let it go out to the outside. That's what I'm saying.
But even that is still a choice. That doesn't mean that you're being submissive because you're being forced to be submissive. That doesn't mean you're being submissive because that is what is required of you as a woman. That is a choice.
Yes,
right. And because of that, I want to give you guys the actual definition of.
And thank you, Jeannie Mai, for listening to all that and coming back and G'ing up. Because I know people in the chat room are going crazy. You guys can have your opinion, keep it respectful. But here's the thing, I need you guys to get the likes up. And we got 3,700 people in here. And we're going to need these 3,900 people because we're going to open the call lines. Because I want to ask a question. You may not like the word submission, ladies. But do you like dying alone? You may not like the word submission. Do you like the word single? Because men, especially competitive men, successful men, high value men, are not going to marry. Are not going to marry you. They are not going to marry you. They will marry Jeannie Mai. They'll marry Becky, Mylene, and Marisol, but they will not marry you. They will marry Jeannie Mai, Becky, Anu, and Marisol, and women who think like her. They won't marry you. So that means you will die alone.
We do know that this man died alone and single, running around with thoughts, kind of. He just came into some popularity and it raised his income level. And he's just, we like to say in my family, smelling his own draws. And what's so dangerous is what he spewed out into the public. And he says he wants Loni Love to shut the F up. Why does he watch her? Now, I listened to him. I saw him as a clean dude. And I'm like, let me see what this dude got to say. And I'm like, nah. I don't know how much of it's entertainment and how much of it's what he really feels and how much of it's anger. But if I had to slice it up, I would say 60% of it's anger. 20%, 25% is entertainment. And the rest is just pain that he wants to hurt people because he's hurt. Like I said, he's been sick since he was 21 years old, always had to contemplate when his last day is going to come because of his illness. He went through chemotherapy and everything, but he succumbed to his illness. But let's go on. Let him get to Jeannie Mai and how he's just going to praise
you don't think
her.
you'll die alone? Oh, yeah, that's right. You can date out and deal out. That's right. But when is Loni Love's wedding? Yeah, she ain't got one.
Submit. And then I want to explain how I see this. So the actual definition of submit is to accept or yield to a superior force or to the authority or will of another person. So I'm going to say right here that I, Jeannie Mai, going into my marriage, I want to submit to my man.
Big ups to Jeannie Mai for coming back and saying, yeah, fuck what you're talking about. Jeannie Mai got a man at home, and I am going on the record saying straight up in front of all this BS, I want to submit. See, Jeannie Mai is about to tell you that she is a strong woman. But one of the things that strong women, actually truly strong women, learn from their mistakes.
Let me pause that. That's a beautiful thing when you want to submit to your man and you want to follow his lead. But Jeannie Mai, she didn't really submit and succumb to this powerful source. She lived separately from her husband. I believe she lived in LA while he lived in Atlanta most of the time. She didn't start spending most of her time with her husband until she was trying to save the marriage. You know, during the courtship, it's like that for everybody. People in the dating phase, it's infatuations. People rarely get married because they are 100% dedicated to somebody. And that's everybody. People are caught up in their feelings. Everybody's looking good, smelling good, typically on the younger side. It sounds all good. She didn't have her children involved. She didn't have any children at the time. But Jeannie Mai was already a divorcee, and she already had issues in that marriage. So Kevin Samuels using her as the ideal woman, and this is the woman that men want. This is what you want to be. This is what you'll never be. That's so abusive to me from the first time I heard it. And the most interesting thing about Jeannie Mai and Jeezy breaking up to me, it's like it's their business. The most interesting to me about their divorcing is Kevin Samuels using them as an example. And like I said, a way to abuse women. This was his whole thing, abusing particularly Black women. But let me just go on and let him finish putting his foot in his mouth about how people are going to die alone unmarried, which he did. Oh, let me get to this man. Play him.
It doesn't take You're not strong if you don't learn from your mistake. You're just a stubborn, pig-headed fool. Strong and stubborn are two different things. Get back into it. Tell
Let me
him, Jeannie.
explain. When I hear this
Wow.
definition, like you just said, Adrian, submitting has a negative connotation. It means that you are less important, you are lower than that person that you're submitting to. It usually can be like, you know, referenced as somebody who works lower than you, and that's not what I'm referring to here.
Yeah,
but
that's
what I've
not
really
cool.
learned in my life for my definition of marriage, I'm not saying what I want works for everybody. I'm saying for me, I'm a very
Say something. Ain't that the modern woman's dream? I can get out here and lead, bring home the bacon fried up in the pan, but when I get home, I have picked a man that I am comfortable submitting to him and letting him lead. See, what these other women on the panel have a problem with is they either do not, but I don't think they can. I don't think women like Loni Love can get a man on Jeezy's level. And you guys know I'm not a big high value man as an entertainer or an athlete, but for this one, we'll make an exception. Loni Love can't get a man on that level. She fails the fitness component. Loni Love can't get a man on that level. She fails the cooperativeness component. So she has to get what she can get. And then gonna act like there's a problem with men. No, there's a problem with you, a diet, and a gym. You and some
Abusive.
therapy. Old Fancy sitting up there. Wow. You're gonna say that, Jeannie? Yeah, do you not see that ring is as big as her middle finger? And y'all are sitting up there as two unmarried, unengaged women not learning a damn thing.
It's 3 women.
You aren't strong, you're stubborn. See? You hear that bullshit? So worried about a word. This is why women like her will never, ever, 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 ever get a high value, successful, or competitive man. See,
Like him.
smart women are willing to be led by high value men, competitive men, and successful men. That's smart. Because the leader, the cover, takes the first bullet, takes the arrow. I got to be willing to die for mine. You know, I've talked about this whole thing, looking for my next ex-wife. Tell you this right now. As a man, you have to be willing to lead. And if you want that 50-50 thing, cool. Don't deal with a 100% man. Because he's not going to go back and forth with you. He ain't going to play games with you. He ain't going to do a whole lot of that stuff with you. Understand something. Smart women are willing to be led by high value men. Smart women are willing to openly declare their inner.
See, he's not talking about nothing to me anymore. He actually never was talking about nothing as far as I'm concerned. Not really, because his whole thing was about entertainment and bashing females. But he did take this time to uplift Jeannie Mai in a way. It's not really Jeannie's fault that he used her to put women down. But that's what he did. And it's just very telling that right now she's going through a painful divorce. I feel sorry for her. I want to get some of these other. Wow, I don't know why that's not moving. But there she is with Jeezy. She's going through it. She was trying to save her marriage, but she was not behaving like that submissive woman that she said that she wanted to be. And let me leave it right there. Here we got one of these clone type of, they're not cloning him exactly, but this thinking about slamming women down and promoting what they think is ideal and presenting themselves as high value for these men that are like incels like them, that like are mad about something, that feel inferior. This does not help to heal the bonds between men and women. And I don't think Jeezy himself would buy into the kind of ideals that these type of dudes spread. It's just pulverizing. And it suits young hotheads more than anything. And Jeannie Mai with her submission, hey, it's beautiful if you have that kind of relationship. It's beautiful if you have the kind of relationship where a woman, you never have to work a day in your life outside of the household unless you want to do a little hobby or volunteer work. But we don't live in that kind of world now. Women mostly, for whatever kind of status you want in life, it's usually taking two incomes. If you want to live a middle class life, upper middle class life, you want to have kids and a dog, and then you want to have hobbies, travel. It takes a lot of money. Unless you're this man, like high value man, you really making like 7 figures. Even still, if you have a woman that's working out in the workplace, out in that world with you, she has something working in her head. She has some kind of intelligence. Even women that aren't educated traditionally, they just have, I learned from Dolly Parton, her people called it horse sense. You just got good horse sense. You know how to navigate a lot of things. You do a lot of critical thinking for the household. You know how to make a household run smoothly and take care of your man. And a lot of men value that. And if a man is dedicated to his wife and he's really playing that role as the head of the household, acting like a traditional man, not out here swinging, not out here clubbing, not out here trying to hang out with kids 15, 20 years younger than him, not running with his boys as if he's still single. See, this stuff goes both ways. Who knows exactly what happened with Jeannie Mai and Jeezy? People say that she was not behaving so well. So does that make her the high-powered example of what a woman should be? Does that make her submissive? How you gonna be submissive anyway? You're not even living in the house with your man. How that work? How does that work? It don't really. But I'm gonna get out of here. I just always felt some kind of way about not just that reaction that Kevin Samuels did, but a lot of stuff he did. And as far as Jeannie Mai and Jeezy are concerned, I hope they find their way. And if you like this content, you found value in it, please do like, share, and subscribe. You hit the subscribe button, you'll get all kind of confetti. It's fun. And I have other playlists. I cover other topics. I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Until the next time, y'all keep the peace and keep living your life like it's golden. Peace.